CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 Final Four. For the next half hour, we'll be setting the stage for college basketball's biggest show, and then it'll be time for the players themselves to take over. Duke University, in its fourth Final Four in the last 5 years, meets the Arkansas Razorbacks, who are returning to the Final Four after a 12-year absence. Then, in our second national semifinal game, Georgia Tech will unleash Lethal Weapon 3 against the consensus favorite here and sole surviving tournament top seed, Nevada, Las Vegas. Today's two winners, of course, earned the right to play each other on Monday night for the national championship. Right now, let's get the latest on the two teams in the opener as we check in around the arena with my colleagues James Brown and Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Jim, it seems like it wouldn't be a Final Four if we didn't have Duke here, but these players are out to disprove the whispering notion that Duke can't win the big one. The team arrived about a half an hour ago. They seem relaxed. They seem confident. And I had an opportunity to speak with Ala Abdelnaby, who's, of course, a senior.
You got to come over here.
Ala, you've been now to the Final Four 3 times. What makes you think that this experience will be different?
Well, it's a different team, and we're excited about this team being here, and it should be a great afternoon.
You're one of the senior leaders. What will you tell the team today?
Just to relax and have fun, and that's what's made us successful so far.
Best of luck. Thank you, Ala. One additional note, the trainer, Max Crowder, told me that Robert Brickey, who's been plagued by a hamstring injury, has been practicing at nearly 100%, and he's ready to go. Right now, let's go over to Arkansas and James Brown.
All right, Leslie, and as you well know, this Arkansas team is a very young squad with only 3 seniors on the entire team. So you would think that a lot of the sophomores and juniors would be nervous. Well, their bus arrived about 45 minutes ago, and let me tell you, when they got off the bus, they were a model of calm and relaxation. Perhaps
the most important thing that happened to me in my life is to go without a mother and a father. You know, my mom passed away when I was 3, and my dad, I was 11, going on 12. My grandmother raised me, and she had 11 children, and we had 3 of us that came to stay with her. And to me, she taught us to be able to fight. That was more important, to be able to stand up what you think is right, and at the same time, be humble to the things that you have done. And remember that every dog in a fight, it's not how big the dog is in the fight, it's how much fight's in the dog. Well, you know, the time that I used to feel that it was really tough was when when the schools would have parents' night. My grandmother was pretty old, and she worked at night. So no one ever attended parents' night for us. I don't think the teachers or anyone knew my family because we only had the grandmother, and she had to work. And I'd be at the school sometimes, and all these young mothers would come in with their kids, and you begin to say, God, I wish we could have had some of that kind of love or some of that feeling. You know, I lost my daughter a few years back, and we were very close. And I've got some other kids that I've been very close, but this one was particularly close because I was a lot older and I'd already reached the coaching profession, and she was so involved with us that I spent more time probably doing the things that I didn't get with her. Yvonne?
Anderson tied the game, or did he? Here's the buzzer beater. And later, our replays show that the shot had been fired after the buzzer had sounded, and Michigan State rightfully should have won that game. I'm joined right now by Hank Nichols, the national coordinator of officials for the tournament. Hank, how was that game handled right there by the officials?
Well, Jim, you have to remember something, that the game ends officially.
Leslie, thank you. And I'm joined now by Mike Francesa, who, of course, was with me during the tournament, our studio analyst, and a guy who's been working behind the scenes this week out here talking to a lot of coaches. One thing I want to clear up, Jerry Tarkanian. Some people have misrepresented.
One of my most memorable experience was certainly playing in the Checker Dome in St. Louis. And it was so awesome simply because you practice, and it had at least 12 or 13,000 people watching you practice. And before the ball game, you walked into the arena, and you could feel the excitement in the air. And it was no doubt the most exciting feeling I've ever felt in athletics, was going out on the court playing in a Final Four ball game.
As a player, I was one of those who thought that the Final Four probably is the pinnacle of sports achievement, and so it meant the world to me as a basketball player. It was the crowning success for a collegiate career, and the memories that were formed there, I'll never forget.
A young band of dreamers from Duke was also touched by that Final Four spirit in St. Louis.
when you're 19 years old and how you go through that experience will stay with you. It has stayed with me, and it stayed with the guys on our team. But you also realize that those moments don't last forever. You know, you really have to grab them and hold them and remember them and just say, gee whiz, that was great.
And it was Kentucky won the national championship that year in 1978. Duke and Arkansas didn't play each other in that Final Four 12 years ago, but they will at about 12 minutes from now. Well, the bands are getting warmed up. The players are still...
America, the land of unlimited opportunity. Or, as F. Scott Fitzgerald more aptly wrote, don't tell me about the doomsters. They are everywhere. But I will tell you about what America truly is. America is a willingness of the heart. The youth of America is our most valuable resource. It is that willingness of the heart that makes us all want to do things just a little bit better than they've ever been done before. And to dream of the time to come when courage and that will to win come together. Yes, it is a dream of a moment of glory. It is a moment when you subconsciously say yes to life. It is a moment that we have all been waiting for. From Denver, Colorado and McNichols Arena, CBS Sports brings you the Final Four. The national championship down to these four splendid college basketball teams, Arkansas and Duke in the first game, and then in the nightcap. It will be the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech against the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. So welcome inside to a capacity crowd. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger along with Billy Packer. Such a pleasure to be back with you again. We really don't know what to expect today. What a marvelous journey this tournament has been so far. It truly has been an NCAA tournament of the classic ending. 7 games decided by a single point, 10 by 2, and 5 games going into overtime. We have had, Billy, one thrill after another.
We have, Brandon. As the great coach John Wooden said, balance is the key to life and basketball. There's never been better balance in the Final Four. Realistically, every one of these teams could come out Monday as the national champions.
Should be a great afternoon. We hope you enjoy it. We're going to come back and take a look at Duke and Arkansas after these messages from your local station.
If you choose to finance or lease.
6'5" senior from Dallas, Texas, number 24, Lindsey Howell. For Duke at forward, a 6'5" senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina, number 21, Robert Brickey. For Arkansas at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee, number 10, Todd Day. For Duke at forward, a 6'11" sophomore from Angola, New York, number 32, Christian Laettner. For Arkansas at center, a 6'9" senior from Kansas City, Kansas, number 55, Mario Credit. For Duke at center, a 6'10 senior from Bloomfield, New Jersey, number 30, Ala Abdelnaby. For Arkansas at guard, a 6'2 sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 11, Lee Mayberry. For Duke at guard, a 6'4 senior from University Park, Illinois, number 3, Phil Henderson. For Arkansas at guard, a 5'10 junior from Memphis, Tennessee, number 20, Arlen Bowers. For Duke at guard, a 6-foot freshman from Jersey City, New Jersey, number 11, Bobby Hurley. And introducing the head coaches for Arkansas in his 5th season, Nolan Richardson. For Duke in his 10th season, Mike Krzyzewski.
So Mike Krzyzewski seeking his first national championship. 3 straight years he's been here. The officials, Jerry Donahue out of Havertown, Pennsylvania, working with Jim Burr from Latham, New York, and Frank Bassoni out of Bellevue, Washington. We are ready to go. Duke wearing their home whites and the Razorbacks in their traveling red. And have they brought a lot of fans up out of Arkansas here today. The tap is controlled by the taller Duke Blue Devils, and Ricky on a pass from Henderson.
Brent Credit was not ready for the jump. He was looking down. That's why Duke got such a big advantage.
Mayberry is 11, penetrates beautifully. Abdelnaby influenced the shot. Leitner, and it's Duke's ball. Bricky left-hands it into the hands of Hurley. Knocked away, though, from that quickness of Bowers coming from the rear. Arlen Bowers out of Memphis, Tennessee, knocked it away for Coach Nolan Richardson.
Nolan's got the red cowboy boots to match that tie today.
Abdelnaby tracks it down. Billy, you were telling me if there's any edge in this game, it's inside on the blocks, the Duke height.
That's something, though, that Arkansas has an opportunity to match up pretty well in this zone that they're playing. But there's a good example, Brent. Whatever they do, they're going to have Leitner and Abdelnaby coming from sides, which can be tough for Howell.
This is Day off the penetration, a smooth score. Lindsey Howell, who's had a great tournament, digs it out. And Mayberry with a miss, and Abdelnaby off with the rebound into the hands of Hurley. And so far, the full court pressure hasn't been a factor because they haven't been coming off of made baskets or anything down here. Knocked by Bowers, but Henderson's got a shot at it. He tracks it down.
Well, Bowers had an easy two-handed catch on that play, just turned it back over. There you can see the matchup zone. Some holes right down in the middle of this zone for dribble penetration. There's an example.
Now, Credit did a good job of knocking the ball free, but they turn it over.
Arkansas a little shaky so far, not playing their normal game. They have only had one real run in this tournament, that being the game that they played against North Carolina.
Billy, I guess that the Razorbacks in this Final Four, this group of Razorbacks, over all the schools in there 4 times, but I think we can understand they would tend to be a little more nervous than Duke because this is the 3rd straight year for the Duke seniors.
That's true, and also this is a very young Arkansas club, maybe a year away from being an experienced team you'd expect to be in a Final Four.
Now, Billy, here's a very key thing in the game. Abdelnaby putting in the field goal was fouled. Anytime you can get Abdelnaby or Leitner up to the free throw line after a made field goal.
It's an excellent move by Duke. You can see they're throwing the ball right over the top of the people out front in the zone. And there again, the weak side help that was not available at all because you have a size factor 6'10 against 6'5. Howell just too small on that back line.
Now let's keep in mind that Duke took a huge lead on Seton Hall last year in Seattle. It was 26-8 before they lost that game. And they're off to another great start in this one. That final a year ago was 95-78.
Beautiful dribbling by Hurley.
That's what Bowers does, though. He'll come from the backside on you. You have to watch the Arkansas speed on defense. But Leitner and Abdelnaby are causing great problems. There's another foul. Billy, the one move that Coach Richardson told us he could make is put Oliver Miller on the inside with Credit. Do you think he'll have to go to that?
Yeah, we'll see that quickly in my estimation. You can see that Duke is penetrating the matchup zone very easily with the dribble. Abdelnaby all alone. If it's not for Day, he's got an easy 2, even though he comes up with a foul. So the answer is Oliver Miller going with Credit. It's something that Nolan Richardson would not like to do early because he'd like to wear Duke down a little bit. But the size factor here is obviously noticeable.
Well, it's interesting when Coach K goes out to recruit a player for Duke, especially a big man like Abdelnaby. He watches very carefully how they shoot free throws. He wants his big men to be able to hit free throws. He says it's critical in the late stages of a game. There now is the lead pass to smooth Lindsey Howell. They bring it back through Bowers.
Nice job by Bricky to pick up defensively.
And Dave puts the Razorbacks on the board, and with that 3, it's 8-3, and they are all over Hurley now. Here it comes after the made field goal, and the freshman able to get it into Henderson's hands.
Double team in on the full court pressure.
Ricky smoothly comes down the baseline, took his time, was very patient.
When I said it last year, I thought if Ricky had not gone down with an injury, Duke would have been in that final game. He's a key player for them, and matching up now with Lindsey Howe.
No shot, according to Burr. You could hear the call underneath the basket. Henderson with the first personal for Coach Mike Krzyzewski. This is how Arkansas battled its way here. You have to win 6 games to capture a national championship. Princeton, again, giving them a lot of trouble with that slowdown game. Dayton, they played their best game probably against North Carolina. And then they beat Texas. And you've got to be impressed with an Arkansas team that can handle a tough Texas bunch 3 times this year, buddy.
Exactly. You see Hurley really laying off Bowers right now so he can double team. There he is again. Good double team by Hurley.
Nice jumper by Howe. Boy, that was great ability to rise up in the air, get above the defense that time. And here's Hurley coming right up with the dribble off the penetration. Abdelnaby, the freshman, whipped the press.
Hurley throws the defender with a look-away pass. Olive really held his ground well, too, to give a good passing lane in the angle. You can see Leitner at 6'10" out there on Day. Now, he's not used to playing a man that far from the basket. He could have some trouble out there.
Up to this 3. Blue Devils come back with an early 12-5 lead. Here the first half of our opening game. UNLV and Georgia Tech next.
One step beyond the range that Ricky would like.
Howell for the 3. Duke's ball.
Brent, you notice the players are slowing down noticeably, running up and down the floor. I wonder if altitude has hit them right away. I mean, it's noticeable here, and the game is only a few minutes old.
And Richardson has 3 substitutes up, 2 for Duke, so both coaches noticed the same thing. Bang, Henderson with that smooth jumper for Duke makes it 14-5. Billy, talk about the altitude problems out here and exactly what the players are experiencing right now.
Well, none of these clubs are used to playing at altitude. You know, Duke tried to go into that semi-altitude situation they have at Duke Medical School, but that was only for a day. Nobody has been out here to really get adjusted to it. And Denny Crum told me yesterday that the players are definitely going to notice it out here. I talked to Jim Calhoun, who's a runner, this morning, and he said when he went out to run, 5 miles is usually no problem. After 3, he was in trouble.
Hurley, foul, is going to be able to come up to the free throw line. That's on Mario Credit. So we've got play stopped here. And now for Credit, his 2nd personal foul. Duke's road, and you mentioned Connecticut. And, of course, that was the team they had to beat to get into the championship. Jim Calhoun did a splendid job of coaching the Huskies. That was one of the great games of the tournament, 79-78. And now both teams early go to their bench, and there's the big O, the man you talked about. That's Oliver Miller, who is out there. Abdelnaby's over talking to his coach. Used to be a lot bigger. He's lost about 40 pounds. Has a thyroid problem. A lot of people think it's just because of eating, but he had that problem this summer, and they had to give him medicine to help him cut back and lose some weight as Hurley misses one of the free throws.
Brett, you talk about free throw shooting. Bobby Hurley, this Duke team shoots 76% as a ball club. So Hurley at 77, very unusual to see your point guard way behind the guys in the front line from the free throw line. But he is at 76%, one of their poorer free throw shooters.
Missing twice, gets it back with a nice pass to Leitner, and Leitner will come up with Miller picking up his first personal.
Of course, Christian Leitner is the fella responsible with that great shot against Connecticut in the dying seconds. Was a sensational shot on that particular play, knowing that Oliver Miller is a great shot blocker. What Christian did is use his body to ward off the ball and the opportunity for Oliver to get a hand on it.
Hurley is going back to the locker room. He was jogging back, so perhaps it's not an injury. He just has to go back inside, and we'll check on that for a time. So who do they replace him with, Billy? Who's the young man who fills in?
McCaffrey in the game. Not a ball handler in any way, shape, or form, the likes of Hurley. So the press should work now for Arkansas. And there's Christian Leitner hitting 2, the ACC's #1 free throw shooter.
Impressive start for Coach K and the Blue Devils. We're coming right back. And Murray also on the floor, as is Darrell Hawkins. And this is Mayberry, who has played the distance with his first field goal of the day, making it 16-7. So early in the game, Coach Richardson puts in 4 subs to work with Mayberry.
Brent, tough time for Duke University without Hurley. Hurley has that problem with his stomach. He had it against Connecticut. Of course, it didn't bother him eventually, but he had a very sick stomach before the game. Ball handling a factor here. Man-to-man by Arkansas now with lots of pressure.
They were all over McCaffrey. Ball out of bounds. That was Murray hounding him and getting the ball out of bounds. It's the kind of game that Coach Richardson wants. He wants a helter-skelter game. Coach K, he wants a prettier game. Half court. He wants to see well-executed plays. McCaffrey lost the handle, and it's Arkansas's ball, and so the absence of Bobby Hurley beginning to tell here right away. Out of bounds by Hill.
Brennan, a couple of things helped Nolan Richardson here. With Hurley out of the game, he can go with his substitute and play a defensive basketball game. With Duke not having anybody, really they can count on to initiate the offense.
Hawkins swings free and kisses the glass for 2 more, and it's 16-9. They will turn the pressure up now if they can.
It'd be a good idea to let Leitner bring the ball up court because Oliver Miller's on him, and he's giving him room.
It has been Henderson a couple of trips, however, bringing it up on Mayberry. McCaffrey hit and fouled. Fury coming over on him, and so that will send Billy McCaffrey up to the free throw line. He's hit 4 of the 7 free throws that he has attempted in the NCAA tournament so far. Team fouls now beginning to tell. Arkansas with 5 already, and Duke with only 1.
McCaffrey has been off the bench with 11 double-figure games as a freshman, but a lot of those were in the first half of the season. Cooled off lately. Pennsylvania Player of the Year.
Todd Day on this dead ball will check back into the game for the Razorbacks. And Mayberry now will take a break. So Coach Richardson getting all of his starters a rest here in the early going. So far for Duke, Leitner out on the floor, as is Henderson. And we see over on the bench now that Bobby Hurley has returned. And they're going to get him back onto the floor as quickly as they can, along with Abdelnaby.
Good cut by Hury.
And knock it in now to Miller, who bumps against Leitner and gets his spike, goes up for an offensive rebound. Foul is called.
Let's see if they
and it's
give
going to
him
be against Miller. And I don't believe they gave him the field goal.
Correct.
They waved it off. Hurley returns to the lineup with the score 17-9.
Brent ought to point out, too, that this Arkansas club used to coming back. They were down 20-9 against Princeton in this NCAA tournament opening round, down by 18 against Houston in their Southwest Conference tournament. So it's not something that this team can't come back from. Man-to-man now. Arkansas putting a lot of pressure on the ball.
Abdelnaby muscling inside and into Hury's hands with the rebound. The Razorbacks come down. Hawkins is open.
Great lead pass.
Arkansas back to within 6.
Hurley looked for Davis on a long pass. Smartly did not throw.
Henderson. And Miller gets the rebound into Hury's hands. And look at Hawkins break down on that wing. Bricky got back quickly, and now Hury with daylight. He got around Davis and went for 2, and it's back to 4.
And Nolan Richardson getting it done with the bench. And his bench has been the most productive of any of the 4 teams that are in this tournament.
This is an 8-1 Razorback run right now as time in this game. And at this point, you wonder if maybe Coach Richardson won't send Larry Marks out there to go against him. But instead, it is going to be Oliver Miller who will re-enter now and see how he can handle the situation with 4 fouls.
And Clay Buckley's name may ring a bell for Duke historians because his father, Jay, played in the Final Four with Vic Bubas.
Goes back to Duke. Arkansas almost forced a turnover. Play is set by Krzyzewski from the sideline. Duke leading it by a point. 13:20 to go.
Mayberry looking to steal this ball.
Bricky cut off by Howell beautifully. Miller helps. Now Bricky on the inside creates the field goal. 10 now for Bricky. Long pass to Howell. Makes the catch in the corner. They punch to Miller. Early the foul called against Duke. Didn't get it. It'll be Day with a three. And he's on the money. Ties it up.
Beautiful pass by Oliver Miller, who sees as well as anybody in the low post in college ball.
What a stroke Day has got. His fourth three-pointer of the game. Tying it again at 60. 12-30. Kubek left alone. Not there. Miller strongly brings down the rebound and puts it into Mayberry's hands. Razorbacks seem to be drawing some confidence. Howell coming down the baseline, and Kubek got him.
Mike Krzyzewski looks out on the floor and has an unusual lineup out there for him. He has to figure out where does the scoring come from. Kubek not wanting to take the jumper. Comes with the McCaffrey back.
I want to remind everybody about the women's championship game. Stanford versus Auburn tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Time on CBS. And Abdul Nabi here has returned, and Buckley will sit back down with the score tied at 60. Billy?
What Mike Krzyzewski is thinking, he took Hurley out and said, you know, my team is wearing down a little bit. You better let Hurley get a chance to rest, even though this is a critical juncture in the game.
That's McCaffrey who had checked back in. Here it is Murray. Henderson lets him go on the inside. It is Bowers double team. Gets it back to Murray. Left-handed field goal. He's hit a couple of big ones at 3. And now that deuce on the inside. Arkansas leads it 11:53. Their first lead of the game. Here's Henderson. There, but it's capped in for the tie by Bricky. And that's a dozen points for Bricky. We're going to have a great one. It's 11:40 to go. From the corner, Bowers has the baseline, puts it down, 64-62. Foul trouble caused him to be a little cautious out on the inside that time, and Arkansas made him pay. Now McCaffrey under intense trouble from Day.
Bowers was too quick for McCaffrey and sensed it and went right on by him. Be interesting to see how long Mike Krzyzewski keeps Hurley on the bench. Probably like to rest him for a couple of minutes.
The pace definitely picking up here. Mayberry. Fury checking in. Day and Credit sit down. So Fury is out there with Murray and Mayberry. Miller and Hawkins for the Razorbacks. Great steal. He'll be all alone. McCaffrey's blocked for the layup. And Credit Murray with a tremendous screen over there on the other side. He never let McCaffrey get by him.
Great defensive pressure now by Arkansas. They've taken Duke out of their offense.
The game that is hanging tough. The Razorbacks from Arkansas. They lead it by 4, and now they're all over Duke.
And boy, do they miss Hurley right now.
They ship Kubek on the inside, and here he goes after him. Now it's Hawkins coming out. Here's Mayberry. Picked up by Bricky. Here he off the fake. They'll go to the baseline, and the foul is called.
He stepped out of bounds.
Stepped out of bounds. Down on the baseline.
Great steal on the double team. Henderson never knew anybody was behind him. And there goes the dunk. Arkansas really turnover. Hillary score it and put him on the line.
Duke calls a timeout.
Every year, drivers are presented the usual assortment of compact cars. But by using Kansei engineering, Mazda has designed a compact car that doesn't feel like one, the Mazda Protégé. So while we may have created a new kind of car, it seems we also created a new kind of driver. The compact car enthusiast.
Come on, come on, come on.
Hey, Hey, buddy, hey! That's it. Pull in here. Remember to play McDonald's Fries Surprise. There's all kinds of great prizes. Fly anywhere Delta Airlines goes, even Maui. You could bake on the beach. Better you than me. Win a cheeseburger or a 16-ounce cup of Coca-Cola for 29 cents. Just buy a large or medium fries or hash brown and peel off the sticker. Every box is a winner. Play Fries Surprise today. Hey, you with the tots, over here.
When it comes to rides, this one is serious fun. The new Cub, only from Honda.
At 12, he defied his family and became America's youngest war hero. Then he paid the price.
They think I deserve it.
Rick Schroeder in Too Young a Hero, Sunday.
Brent Musburger with Billy Packer, McNichols Arena, Denver, Colorado. The first of two, and Arkansas on a 25-8 run since Duke took an 11-point lead, 54-43.
Brent, I think it's been the bench and excellent substituting by Nolan Richardson, showing the confidence in that bench. It just upped the pressure. Even when he fell way behind here at the start of the second half, he went right to that bench, and it's been a key for him. They've worn Duke down and forced Duke to go to a lineup that really doesn't suit them.
A 7-point Arkansas lead with Howell on the floor. Miller sitting back down.
They've done it with man-to-man. This has not been the Arkansas matchup zone.
Ricky
He was looking to pass.
went back and got his own miss. 14 points for Bricky. He's tied with Abdel Nabi, but Abdel Nabi had a dozen early, and then he's relatively quiet since then.
Lindsey Howell looking to take the dribble on Leitner.
Triple teamed. Duke ball, outlet, Henderson, Mayberry back. He spins inside.
Oh, left hand.
Play by Phil Henderson.
The only way he could get that shot off was to switch it to the left hand. Beautiful play. He feels the double team coming, switches it over and puts it back left-handed. Sensational play.
I'll tell you who appreciated this a lot was that man you saw watching it, the athletic director at Duke, Tom Butters, as you take a look at this outlet pass and watch this spin that Billy described. And now Phil comes to the line.
Well, we talked about, there is Tom Butters. We talked about one of the keys to this game was fill her up. And Henderson certainly did it there. Well, you really have a contest of wills now, as usually is the case in the Final Four. Both of these teams going after each other really with a lot of physical contact.
Arkansas has hit 7 in a row. That's their first miss in 8 shots. Duke ball.
Bricky and Lindsey Howell, two great swingmen type players battling each other, and Bricky has a little bit more leaping ability.
The team foul situation, though, has turned against Krzyzewski this half. 16 fouls on Duke and 3 against the Razorbacks.
You notice this press is not guarding the man taking the ball out of bounds. This leaves the safety man back. Now Arkansas is playing with no big men in the game at all, which gives them a great quickness.
Razorbacks ball went off Leitner and out of bounds.
And make it even smaller because Bowers comes in to take Murray's place. So the tallest man they got out here is Day right now.
Knocked out of bounds by Davis. So the Razorbacks will set a play from out of bounds with the score 69-67. Arkansas leading it by 2.
Remember, Leitner has 4, and he's trying to guard Curie or Howell, and they're trying to take him one-on-one.
Bowers off the fake, and he gives it up, and here's Curie with a 2 short into the hands of Leitner. Outlet. Duke comes back 2-on-2. The Razorbacks get back, and Davis with a miss into the hands of Bowers. Arkansas applying that pressure. Mayberry's 3 is short again. He's been short all day from three-point range. Leitner now to Bricky. It's 2-on-1. Back to Leitner.
And he got pushed from behind, not called.
They're going to hurry back now. Score tied at 69. 9 minutes to go. 7 straight points by the Blue Devils. This has been a game of streaks. Off for the miss. Lindsey Howell gets it back.
Nice job by Day to pull it out. Fury taking shots that Nolan Richardson doesn't want right now. Good smart play by Day.
Day on the pull-up.
Beautiful shooter.
27 points for Todd Day here this afternoon. He's been magnificent, and he takes a foul on Bricky. And on Day, that's his 3rd personal foul.
Brent, I always respected Day in terms of his great shooting ability, his passing ability, but I didn't know how tough he was until we did that game in Las Vegas, where he was really challenged by the likes of Stacey Osmond and held in there and played a great game. He's one of the nation's best players without question, even though he's just a sophomore.
Credit with 4 personals on the floor, along with Miller.
Some great substituting going on by both coaches in a chess match. Nolan Richardson comes back with his 2 big guys, even though they're in foul trouble. So Mike Krzyzewski decides to counter by bringing Alo Abdelnaby back in there. Be interesting to see if he stays with Leitner or goes small. With this lineup, Arkansas will not be able to press as well, but obviously they have much more rebounding power.
Mickey Krzyzewski quietly watching. You really have to feel for all of the wives. They can't do anything about it. They can't send any subs in or yell at the referee. They just got to sit there and agonize while their husbands work down on the floor. It goes with a lot of the mothers of the athletes, too. 71-70 now. Arkansas with the ball on a 1-point lead. They tried to punch it in. Leitner gambled that time. Got it out for Credit and out of bounds.
Brent, Credit just does not sit down when the ball is passed to him. He stands straight up, making it very easy to come around him. He's got a big enough body to block people off. That time he could have picked up a foul on Leitner.
Arkansas uses a timeout at the 8:23 mark. And we'll come right back to McNichols in a moment.
Rock and roll is okay, but I prefer rap.
Awesome.
Wait a second. Shady Acres was supposed to get the Coke, and the frat house was supposed to get the Pepsi.
Coke, Pepsi, what's the difference?
I-24.
This is radical.
You could call one company to take your package to an address across town. And you could find somebody to take your package to any address cross-country. Then you could call a third outfit that could take your package overseas. And yet another that could take your package overnight. But there's only one company you could call if you only wanted to make one call.
Arkansas leading it by 1 behind 27 points by their scoring leader during the regular season, Todd Day. And the Razorbacks find themselves with a couple of fouls to give. In case the ball is tied up, it'll be Duke's possession out of bounds. Foul trouble, a big story here, certainly as far as the big men inside are concerned. 3 of them saddled with 4 fouls apiece. And Nolan Richardson concerned with 8:20 to go and hoping that Credit and Miller, both of whom are on the floor right now, and a coaching gamble, can stay out there and finish up this game. Davis
Of course, to bring it back to Hurley, who has scored only 1 point, and that on a free throw in the first half. He sent it to Henderson, who arches in a 3 for Duke, and that's 21 points for Henderson.
Oh, great catch.
Howell was scoreless in the second half on the receiving end.
But you can see what Nolan Richardson did that last time down court. He's going to try to save his 2 big men by playing the zone.
Day rattled out, Credit going for it, and it'll be Howell with his first field goal in the second half.
Leitner could not afford to come over his back with a foul. Now you notice they've got away from the press. They're going with their big lineup, staying back in the zone.
Miller is in the middle. Now he's behind Abdul Nabi. They hit Leitner, bounces it to Abdul Nabi, and Miller goes up and rejects it. Henderson has it. Credit couldn't take the foul, held his ground, and now the foul is going to be called, and it's going to be against Duke. And on Davis, that's number 2.
A little intimidation by Oliver Miller. We said the Big O would be a key in this game, and he certainly was here. Not only is he trying to protect himself from not going out on fouls, but he comes up with a brilliant block, and as we said, the leading shot blocker Arkansas has ever had, knocking off Andrew Lang's record that he held up till today.
Bricky returning for the Devils. And Leitner sits down.
You have to have a lot of guts as a coach to sit there with 2 key players, had 4 fouls and went to the zone.
Very critical now for Arkansas with Duke over the limit and 7 minutes and 18 seconds to go to hit that front end, as Credit did, giving them the bonus. He didn't hit it, but they got an opportunity. Now it is Duke's ball, 74-73, Arkansas with the lead.
Now you have to think about jump shooters here. Henderson about all they've got.
Into the hands of Bricky. An opportunity basket, and he went down hard. He's playing with an injured knee, bad hamstring. He's okay. He bounces right back up. Now it's Howell with the 3 at the top of the circle. Arkansas leads it, and Lindsey Howell.
Oh, and Phil Henderson took a shot. He's a little woozy on the sidelines. Brent, as versatile as Howell is, can you imagine throughout his career he did not make a 3-point shot until this year's Southwest Conference tournament? Phil Henderson is really woozy out there. He took a shot. And of all the guys Mike Krzyzewski cannot afford out of there right now, it's his primary shooter.
Watch the left side of your screen. He appeared to be hit, I guess, up in the nose area. That's what he was holding as he came in. And he suffered the blow right there, and he will sit down on the Duke bench.
Now, if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you want to stall for time as best you can here because that's your go-to guy, and he's out of it.
Hurley, Bricky, Davis, Leitner back with Abdul Nabi. They really need Hurley to start getting some penetration here and pull some of the defenders out if they can. He pops one into Abdul Nabi.
Oh, another great
Miller with a great play and into the hands of Bricky.
Mike Krzyzewski getting exactly what he wants. The ball down inside low to get Miller out of the game, but they can't do it.
Deep to Abdul Nabi. Nice pass by Hurley. Leitner off. As Abdul Nabi missed the layup. Score it. And the foul is called down on the inside.
That'll be all for Credit. Well, Nolan Richardson did a masterful job keeping those 2 big guys in the game. They had 3 fouls on him for a long time. There's the lob over the top of Lindsey Howell. Miller again with great defense. Leitner has the inside position. Credit on his back.
Credit, a senior, receiving an ovation from the Arkansas fans. And if the Razorbacks are unable to pull this one out without their starting center, that will have been his last appearance for Arkansas. So it's going to be tough now with the foul situation. 6:22, and we've lost our first player. Leitner with 4 and 16 points and 10 rebounds makes it 17 and gives the Devils a 1-point lead.
And now the key is, will they go down and try to get Miller out of this?
Howell is short and into Mayberry's hands, and good anticipation by Bricky. Stepped into the passing lane, took it away from Fury, and now it's Hurley bringing it up. As it knocked free on the turnover, they bust out 3-on-1. Only Bricky. Mayberry hits the trail man Howell, and the foul is called on Davis.
Sensational play by Mayberry, who led his league in steals. Hurley did not protect the ball. Mayberry's quickness came from behind. Even when you beat somebody, when they have that ability, you can see what was a great play by Mayberry. He came down from underneath the ball instead of slapping on top. If you slap on top, of course, you pick up that foul.
Tied.
And Brent, you know, with 6 minutes to go, you feel there's another run coming for both teams in this game. Right now, you would have to think, because of the way Nolan Richardson is substituted, he's got a fresher 5 out on the floor than does Duke.
Arkansas up a point at the 6-minute mark. Leitner looks at Abdelnaby. Miller cuts him off.
They're wanting to go to Abdelnaby with Miller on him.
Miller with 4 fouls stays with him. Abdelnaby gets the roll.
Now, Oliver Miller's not backing down.
Mayberry under pressure. Finds Hury coming out, and this is Day now with possession. They have to respect him from any spot on that floor. Coming into the inside. Leitner rebounding.
They've got
off
the fast break.
3-on-1 advantage, only Mayberry. Abdelnaby is wrapped up and fouled by Mayberry. Mayberry takes his first foul of the game.
That was an excellent foul on Mayberry's part. Took away what was a 3-on-1 break. Duke maybe tried to force it a little bit too quick in there.
Davis for the Blue Devils and Bowers for the Razorbacks. Checking in as Day sits down.
That's the point I just made a second ago, and the fact that Nolan Richardson probably also feels he's got plenty of time in this game because of the runs that have been made to save Day for the last 4 minutes.
Ricky also sits down as Abdelnaby gives Duke a 2-point lead.
Based on Denny Crum's statement to me yesterday, he said the last 6 minutes at altitude is when your players start to fall off in efficiency if they're not rested, and Duke is kind of tired right now.
Abdelnaby with 18 points. Leitner was 17, Ricky was 17, and Henderson, the leading scorer, shaken up, returning now with 21 points on the floor for the final 5 minutes. Knocked away beautifully by Abdelnaby.
Good help by Bobby Hurley coming from the backside. Hurley's been doing a lot of things today, but he has not scored a field goal.
Hawkins.
You can see what Nolan Richardson's doing. He's saying, I'm going to run at you in the last 3 minutes of the game, and I'm coming back with Day, and I'm going to come back with Lindsey Howell rested.
Both of them out right now. So Bowers and Hawkins and Mayberry, Miller and Hury. And the key question is, can Miller stay on the floor with the 4 personals? Mayberry with a good spinning move comes back to the right side and buries that jump shot. A 1-point Duke lead. The press is set off the successful field goal. They hit Davis beautifully. 2-on-1. Abdelnaby comes up on Miller and gets the field goal.
And Miller did not back off again. And that could have been the ball game right there. He is doing some job. The Big O.
Sits it back to Bowers, who comes free. Almost ran back in by Hury. Bowers gets it back, and it's Leitner's rebound.
No defensive balance now by this Arkansas club. Breaks are available.
Henderson sets the 3.
Arkansas not getting back on defense. Nolan Richardson may have to go for a timeout here. Club a little afraid.
That's 3 3-pointers for Phil Henderson. Hury coming back in. Yanked away by Davis.
See, nobody back again.
And so it is Duke that appears more rested now. Henderson comes in for the layup. And it's 89-81. An 8-point lead. Timeout.
Take on special urgency. We recommend the BMW 5 Series. Its unparalleled defense system was designed to help you emerge unscathed from a hostile world. For a test drive, contact your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut BMW dealers.
We built.
Brent, here's what we're talking about in terms of floor balance. Now, Oliver Miller is way back here under the basket. He needs to be in this area because Duke is throwing over the top of the press. And watch what happens when he is not back in position to stop this lob. See, Oliver Miller's all the way down on the foul line. Of no help back there. The dish goes inside. Abdelnaby scores. And Miller lucky he didn't pick up his fifth.
Took it out of the lineup a short time ago, has returned, and now Lindsey Howell is moving over to the table to check back in too. They're down to 339, 89-81, and they really missed Day and Howell during that burst by Duke. It's an 11-2 Duke run over the last 2:21. Now timeouts remaining. Arkansas down to its last timeout here at 3:39, and Duke with 2.
Well, Brent, what I think Nolan Richardson was doing, he had a kind of a comfortable situation. He was real tight and was taking his players out to make that last run. But then all of a sudden, his team lost floor balance defensively, and Duke was able to hit a couple of quick ones. Key also is to think, will Mike Krzyzewski now pull this ball out a little higher, forcing Arkansas to chase him, not in a total delay, but a semi-delay.
It's going to be tough against the half-court defense to start nailing threes against Duke. Henderson out on Day, so Day will put it off the dribble, draws the double team, and Henderson back to help out beautifully. This Duke defense can be so tough. In the second game, Georgia Tech and UNLV, and Mayberry misses on the 3, gets it back, comes inside now.
Oh, what a body. What a body move by Mayberry. Now it's back to man-to-man defensive pressure. Much better handled by Duke that time. Now Miller's on Abdelnaby. They're going to force him to come outside a little bit. Good move by Duke. Here's what I expected. A little semi-delay.
Henderson takes his time. Missed. They can't tap it back in. Arkansas to save it. And it is Day's ball. Day arches a 3 and not there, and Leitner brings it down. 2:40.
Here goes Hurley.
Hurley wants Abdelnaby. Finally got the handle on it.
Now the problem they have, Miller has a hard time going out and guarding somebody that far away from the floor. Abdelnaby should come out and always be the open man whenever they get tied up in a double team.
This is allowing Todd Day, at least, to catch his breath. At 2:20, they're going to need him. Now it's Henderson going inside, up over the top, and it doesn't matter.
There was a switch that time, and Miller was stuck with Henderson. Great job by Henderson to recognize that and take him one-on-one.
Henderson has scored Duke's last 7 points after returning from the nose injury. Mayberry can't find it. Duke's game to lose now. Leitner off with the rebound. They're inside at 2 minutes. They lead at 91-83. 14 rebounds for Christian Leitner.
Both of these teams are tired now. The starters for Duke have been out there what seems for them like an eternity. I would get the ball to whoever Oliver Miller is guarding and make him play somebody.
Day will come out and foul Leitner. Number 4 on Todd Day.
Brent, there's some fellas really having to suck it up out there. They're exhausted, aren't they?
Well, we can see that Richardson now taking Mayberry back out. And Cannon Whitby, a senior, checks into a Final Four with 1:38 to go, 91-83.
And a good free throw shooter on the line. Brett, these two teams were both in the Final Four in '78, but didn't play against each other, obviously. Kentucky knocked off Arkansas, and Duke beating Notre Dame to have that Duke and Kentucky matchup.
The chant in the building now is ACC, ACC for followers of Duke and Georgia Tech, which will be playing the next game. The three is short into Bricky's hands. And it now appears that Duke will head to the championship game on Monday night. Into Henderson's hands, who has been the standout after suffering that nose injury. During crunch time, it was Phil Henderson who led the way for the Duke Blue Devils.
And there's the point that Mike Krzyzewski made. Isn't it great to have fellas of that size that are good outlet pass people that you're normally going to foul, but they're the best free throw shooters. Most of the times if big men are used to step out that high, you foul them and they go to the line and they're 65% shooters.
Big game for Laettner. 19 points and 14 rebounds. 9 of 11 at the free throw line. Three-point time now for the Razorbacks.
Against a team that knows how to guard the three.
Whitby. Duke's ball.
Mike Krzyzewski going for a little bit more ball handling now. Takes out Abdelnaby, who did a good job despite his foul problems. Brent, we talked to each other and said the first team to lose their big men would be in trouble, and Arkansas, unfortunately, was that club. They lost credit. Duke kept Laettner and Abdelnaby in the game.
Early lets that clock tick down before they can finally get him at the free throw line. And the young man has played through his upset stomach here this afternoon. He was forced to leave the court in the early going. And Mickey Krzyzewski able to breathe a little sigh of relief now there with the Krzyzewski daughters.
But just last year, this young fellow was leading his high school team, St. Anthony's, to an undefeated season, the #1 ranked high school team in America. Got a chance now to be the #1 ranked college team in America.
You know, we all remember the great Danny Ferry, who's over in Italy playing, and last week during the Connecticut game, he called thinking it was over, and of course they were just getting into overtime, and his friend said they got 11 seconds to go, and Danny said, well, describe the action to me. So he kept him on the phone throughout overtime, and Danny thought it was great until he got his telephone bill last week.
That's right. He doesn't have deep pockets.
Murray with the rebound. Ricky's hands, and he is fouled. 44 seconds to go now. For the last 2 years, Duke has been eliminated in the semifinals. Last year it was Seton Hall knocking them out. But 5 years ago, they made their way into the championship game against Louisville down in Dallas, and they were beaten by the Cardinals. So the Duke Blue Devils appear to be headed back for another chance at an NCAA championship. This is their 8th appearance in the Final Four, and they're still looking for title #1.
You know, Brent, on that Danny Ferry story, I understand that in his accounting of funds, he's got a $2 million contract over there in Italy, and he estimated he has spent about 550 of his own dollars on the year. Pretty good education he gets.
Marks, who had replaced Miller, and it's Duke's ball going out of hand, out of bounds.
Smart play by Henderson, and Marks was trying to ward him off and wasn't paying attention to the ball.
Every senior, every four-year senior who has played for Mike Krzyzewski has earned his degree down at Duke. So this is a program that does it not only on the floor, but also in the classroom. And they'll be going back to the championship game on Monday night. Richardson, disappointment, but remember, this is a young Arkansas team. They'll be back again next year. And Duke will be back again Monday night.
For Mike Krzyzewski now, and just think of this, in the NCAA, his record moves to 21 wins and 6 losses.
And on Monday night, Duke will play the winner of our second game, matching UNLV against Georgia Tech. Lethal Weapon 3 tries to slow down the running Rebs.
They just won't give him the 3.
Taken away by Brookie. Duke was up by 1 with 4:40 to go. And after that, they dominated this game, winning it 97-83. And our Chevrolet players of this game are Phil Henderson of the winning Duke Blue Devils and Todd Day from the Arkansas Razorbacks. We're going to come back and we're going to hear from Coach Krzyzewski and Phil Henderson in just a moment.
Hello? Hi, it's Cousin Harry from America. I'm on my way and I'll see you tomorrow.
The world has gotten smaller. We want to see it and talk to it. The new AT&T Universal Card helps make it all possible. It's Visa or MasterCard and the power of AT&T. The AT&T Universal Card. One world, one card.
Heard from an old student. Remember Brian McKenna? Smart kid.
Good ball player. Great hands. Where's he going to college?
He's not.
Too bad.
Studying aviation electronics.
But you said
In the Navy. Then college.
The Navy College Fund in Montgomery GI Bill. Over $25,000 for your college education.
You went to Navy.
like I said, smart kid.
When choosing a new car, don't compromise. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme XL is longer and wider, yet accelerates faster than Ford Taurus. It's more powerful, yet gets better highway gas mileage than Honda Accord. And it has a better owner satisfaction plan than both, which obviously makes Cutlass Supreme the smarter choice, all the way around. Now get up to $2,600 cash back on a 1990 Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds dealer today.
Up by only 1 point with 5 minutes to play. Duke wins it by 14, and Phil Henderson, one of the heroes. Phil, what happened when you took a blow, and did you think you would be able to come back?
Well, I just got elbow to the nose, but just stunned me a little bit. Couldn't catch my breath, and Coach got me right back in when I was ready.
Well, Mike, there are old-fashioned gut checks, and that was one not only for you as a coach, but your team. I mean, I thought both teams played extremely well under very trying circumstances in the first half.
Well, it was such a physical game, and I can see where they wear a lot of people out. Our bench did a great job for us, especially with the foul trouble. And I thought Phil really stepped forward when we lost the lead in the second half. We looked like we were out of it. And then he hits that three-pointer. He gets hit in the nose. He comes right back. And that's what he's been doing all year long. And then little Hurley, I hit the thing.
How about when he ran out on the court? Did you know what was the problem?
Well, he came up to me and says, Coach, I got diarrhea. And he went in and so he was playing sick and he got drained, and it was a real courageous effort. And Leitner with 4 fouls did a great job.
Brent, one other thing I wanted to ask Coach about. I thought both of you fellas, when you sized up the situation and heard the way the game was being officiated, did a masterful job from a substitution standpoint. And how difficult was to know how to match up with what they want to do, because as you said, they're a very deep team.
Well, when they only have that one big guy in, we have our 2 big guys. We're hurting a little bit because we started out Christian on day and he went crazy. And at halftime, we switched Christian to Howell and put Robert on day, and I thought that was a much better matchup because Howell was playing a little bit more inside today.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Good luck on Monday night. Now let's send you to James Brown. James?
Very much. I'm with Nolan Richardson. And, Coach, you were hoping, in your own words, to create 40 minutes of hell for Duke, but they turned up the heat. What was the difference overall?
I think the biggest play of the game that, we went down 9 and came back, and I think we were 7 up, and Lindsey Howell lost the ball. And I think from that point on, we only scored 14 points, and our game wasn't quite the same. They seemed to have gotten some confidence. It looked like our guys were at the end there when we should have had some more patience. We were panicking and taking shots a little bit too quick. And, of course, Duke's a good ball club, and they were able to capitalize on everything that we did was wrong.
From a defensive standpoint, it seemed like Duke's defense did a great job of collapsing on the big guys, Credit and Miller. Do you agree?
They did a great job. Anytime we tried to throw the ball inside, there was 2 of them big guys in there. And at the same time, they did an excellent job. And Duke's, they play excellent defense.
Coach, a great run by your team. They're young. They'll be back.
I appreciate that. I think we are young, and this was a great experience for us.
All right, Coach Nolan Richardson of the University of Arkansas. So in this case, tournament experience won out over talent. Let's go back up to Jim Nantz.
James, thank you. And to embellish that point, with 6 minutes to go in the game, Lindsey Howell hit 2 free throws for Arkansas to give them a 79-78 lead. The rest of the way, 19-4 Duke. And it adds up to a 14-point